Morning, you're watching Inside Nigerian Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. Today is Thursday, October 30, 2021. Just a day to go, and of course, voila, we'll have November the 11th month in the year 2025. Without wasting much time, let's look at what leadership is offering on its cover today, Thursday. Leadership's leading story, as to be expected, says Atiku lawyers react as Tinubu cancels pardon for Maryam Sanda drug convicts orders. The story is on page 4 of Leadership. Atiku lawyers react as Tinubu cancels pardon for Maryam Sanda drug convicts orders. Kano Assembly alleges not marginalization in customs recruitment. The story is on page 22 of Leadership. Kano Assembly alleges not marginalization in customs recruitment. And lastly, on the cover of Leadership, service chiefs vow to fight terrorists, bandits with technology. And those are the three stories gracing the cover today, because there's a wraparound advert on the cover, which is taking the most of the cover page today, Thursday. We move ahead to page 3 of Leadership, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on fuel tanker explosions and road safety concerns. Fuel tanker explosions and road safety concerns. Today's stand in Leadership. And of course, that takes us to the back page of Leadership, where we have Being Blunt with Mwazwe Laize. Today's bluntness is on Sule Lamido Mutwang and the PDP. Today's Being Blunt with Mwazwe Elize. Mwazwe Elize is the Group Managing Director of Leadership Media Group. Before leaving the back page, let's see Ghana Must Go. Ndoma Egba says it takes 62 signatures to pay one NDDC contractor, coming from Ndoma Egba. And of course, Ghana Must Go ask him how much. Funny. It's on that note we conclude today's Leadership newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is the Guardian newspaper. As is to be expected, all papers are leading with the fallout of the review of the clemency list by President Bola Tinubu yesterday. And the Guardian is no exception. The Guardian says federal government backtracks on pardon as Nigerians question due process. Leading story today on the Guardian, though the same advert is taking quite a big part of the cover story. But atop it, federal government backtracks on pardon as Nigerians question due process. The story runs on page 6 of the Guardian. And above that, just towards the masthead, service chiefs unveil ambitious plans at Senate confirmation. OPAC oil incentives may cost Nigeria 6 trillion naira yearly, Neiti Sisla won. Reps approved Tinubu's $2.3 billion loan, empower EFCC to seize assets without conviction. That story runs on page 4 of The Guardian. Reps approved Tinubu's $2.34 billion loan, empower EFCC to seize assets without conviction. The story continues on page 4 of The Guardian. And that also concludes the review of front headline stories on The Guardian this Thursday. For more, log in to the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, we move over to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun's leading story is on the alleged coup plot, and that is also the same leading story on the Punch newspaper this Thursday. Security agents spread dragnet, fears how DIA, NFIU, EFCC tracked uncovered ex-governor Sylvia's transactions. DSS, not military, raided his Abuja residence. Former Bayelsa governor confirms raid, denies involvement in any plot. And lastly, on the cover of Daily Sun, Tinubu bows to pressure, reviews pardon list, excludes convicts of murder, drug, kidnapping, human trafficking, tightens criteria for future exercises. And that also concludes the review of front headline stories on Daily Sun newspaper this Thursday. For more, log in to the website of Daily Sun newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that paper is also talking about the alleged coup plot, and that paper is the Punch newspaper. The Punch says coup controversy. Military tracks 45 billion naira in NDDC. Detained soldiers linked in NDDC top shots probe. Silva out of country denies links with alleged coup. Tinubu revokes pardon for Sanda 140 high-profile inmates. Senate screening, CDS eyes foreign partnership to crush insurgency. And that brings to a close review of front headline stories on the Punch newspaper. For more, log into the website of the Punch. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard is on service chiefs, how to fix Nigeria's security challenges. How to fix Nigeria's security challenges from service chiefs who were screened yesterday at the National Assembly. And the story continues on page 5 of Vanguard. Tinubu excludes convicts of kidnapping, drugs, firearms offenses from clemency lists. The same leading story in Vanguard. Onitsha residents say why we are backing Soludo's re-election. And lastly, on the cover of Vanguard, power supply, Nigeria CMS signed phase 1 power D, 7,000 megawatts to grid. And that continues on page 20 of Vanguard newspaper. And that also concludes the review of front headline stories on Vanguard this Thursday. For more, log into the website of Vanguard newspaper. We move ahead to the next paper we have on our lineup, and incidentally is also the last paper to review on today's segment of the show. And that is Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune's leading stories, because they are both on the cover above the masthead of Nigerian Tribune. Southwest leaders, traditional rulers unite for regional progress. Fasoranti, Akonde, Ayedatiwa, Sanwo-Olu, others push for Yoruba unity development agenda. And that story is on page 12 of Nigerian Tribune. Southwest leaders, traditional rulers unite for regional progress. Fasoranti, Akonde, Ayedatiwa, Sanwo-Olu, others push for Yoruba unity development agenda. Lastly, on the cover of Nigerian Tribune, federal government releases 2.3 billion naira for payment of salary promotion arrears in universities. The story continues on page 16 of Nigerian Tribune, and that also concludes the review of front headline stories on Nigerian Tribune this Thursday. For more, log into the website of Nigerian Tribune. Well, viewers, all too soon we've come to the end of today's Inside Nigeria, brought to you on Leadership Television. Fortunately, time is no longer on side as we draw the curtain on today's show. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. Look forward to having you same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last